Holy hell, I think I've actually got that figured out. You know that? I think I've got that figured out. I don't know if any of you were paying attention, but that was the best I've ever done. And they said I couldn't learn. It's only taken what, 1,200 and I don't know, some odd videos to get that down. So I wanted to go over a couple of things before we get rolling. Hey, Guac, good to see you, man. Yeah, CK, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. Okay, so before we get rolling, I get emails, right? I mean, gaggles of them, and I read them. Sometimes it takes a minute, but I really do read all of the emails, right? I do get to all of them. Sometimes it takes a minute, and I've got some people now that are helping, which is making it easier as well to keep up with everything. But there are consistent emails that I get over and over and over again that lead me to put up on the thumbnail, right? The only person who can get you sober, right? Because you got to trust and believe that the only person who can get you sober is not me, right? For real. It's also not your 5. Sadly, the only person that can get you sober is you. And we talk about this a lot on the boat. It's really, really hard in the beginning because we don't love ourselves. When the time comes to quit, we're at the bottom of the barrel. It's as bad as it's ever going to be for us, right? It just doesn't feel good. So our self-esteem is in the toilet bowl. And at that time, when our self-esteem is at the absolute worst that it's going to be in our lifetime, we need it to be at the exact opposite, right? Because if you listen to anybody who knows anything about this stuff, they're going to tell you that you got to do it for you, right? You got to do it for you. And that's, it's as simple as that. I don't know that I buy that. And people like to argue with me on this one. You can feel free. I mean, it's cool. Especially if you're respectful about it. I don't care if you disagree. But this is one of those things that that plagues me. M Hunt, it is good to see you. Really good to see you, my friend. But when someone makes the decision to quit, regardless of how long that process takes, when someone says, "I am ready to quit," that starts the journey of this recovery thing. And I think the mindset for a really long time, because of how most other programs do it. And by the way, I owe this to a crew member from the lifeboat from Ireland who wrote me a really long deal once on this subject matter, and it was life-changing for me, honestly. In the rehab end of my life, this was life-changing stuff, because it's just it's frustrating to watch people cash their chips in after 2 beers, or after whatever they're trying to quit, but they stumble, literally. Hey, Russ, good to see you. They stub their toe for all intents and purposes, right? But instantly they say, "It's 6 months down the drain," or "There's 14 years down the drain." I know that the old timers, right, the lifers here on the lifeboat, a lot of you will remember this story. But we had a guy come on one of the lives who said that he had 35 years sober, right? He was 35 years sober, and he had just come off of the wagon, and he basically didn't want to celebrate or do anything until he got to like the 2-year mark. And I said, "How long were you off the wagon?" He said, 6 beers. Man, you're going to toss away 35 years over a 6-pack? I mean, that does not make any sense. You realize that, right? It makes no sense. Your journey continued. It's a different ballgame, if you take 2 years off and you get back in there and you just dive right back into your addiction. But completely different if it's one of those situations where it's a stumble. Andrew, it's so good to see you, my man. Got Andrew I was up depending on how you look at it, I was up really, really late or really, really early this morning. Wow, I had 10 years sober. Keyword had. Well, you know what? This happens to a lot of people, right? This happens to a lot of people. The reason is that there's something in the genetic makeup of us versus like the normies, right? That we reach a number, and it's different with every addict. For the longest time of my life, I could not get past 1 year. Like it was impossible for me to get past 1 year. But there is a magic number where we get to as an addict where we go, I can do it and handle it this time, right? We hit that number, and all of a sudden our brain stops working and we go, this time I'm just going to have 2 glasses of wine, not going to do it again, right? And it may actually work that first night. But that's what we do. We convince ourselves during the hiatus, we convince ourselves that, hell yeah, I can do this, right? What happens is, when we first quit our drug of choice, mine was heroin. When you first quit heroin, all you can think about is abscesses, right? Vomiting all over yourself, and the inability to control your bowel movements, right? Kicking dope is awful, and it is fresh and it is raw in your brain. It's one of those things that you just will not forget. Sorry, people. 31 years sober, but still feel like drinking every day. You know what, Gregory? I love your honesty, man. I absolutely love that kind of honesty. And that's tough. It really is. It makes me wonder. I would love to correspond with you without a 40-second time delay. If you send me an email, Gregory, and make sure that you just put 31 years sober in the in the header, and I would love to talk to you. I really would. I think we could have a really interesting conversation. If you would be willing, that would be fantastic. Kicking dope and Fent and Xanax all sucked. Yeah, I mean that's really a pretty vicious combination, right? I'm hoping you weren't doing all of those at once. Yes. Sorry. When we first let this stuff go, it is so raw in our mind, right? Because we're traumatized. But as we get farther away from the day that we set down the needle or the bottle or whatever it is, right? Food, whatever you're struggling with, the farther we get away from that day, the less pain we feel, right? And then we start getting those memories of, you remember that time that we went and saw, the Elton John concert, and we, polished off 2 bottles of wine on the way over there, and everybody just had such a fantastic time. And all of a sudden, when you start thinking about memories, you're no longer thinking of, what, I was wasted on that. I went to that concert. I don't even remember any of it. I really don't. You talk about a waste of a concert, but thank you, Gregory. You talk about a waste of a concert. Absolutely awful, right? Just completely wasted. And then we get farther and farther out and farther and farther out. And we start thinking to ourselves, no, that was actually a lot of fun, right? Boy, no, life was never better than when we were doing whatever. Put in your drug of choice. We convince ourselves of that crap, right? And we convince ourselves that this time, no problem, right? I promise you, this time I'm going to be able to do it differently, right? It's the exact same drug. But Training Human says, question, I think I missed chemistry class. What does D equals NC squared represent, please? Love the merch site. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, you know what? It's I dig the merch. I've actually been buying a lot of stuff. Let me explain to anybody that is unfamiliar with the D equals NC squared. The first time I went on Aaron's channel, we were talking about what I was explaining sort of how how the white fellas treat people with that particular type of crime inside. And it got us to me bringing up. I was trying to make him understand that there's something called NC status that actually exists. And NC status means you got nothing coming. So if a guy comes up and says, "Hey man, you know what? I need to just," dude, you got nothing coming. Like, you can't ask for anything. You can't ask for a favor. You cannot do anything. You follow me? Thank you, Russ. I appreciate you, my man. You know what? I'm going to need to do something to get Squirrel back in the basket. She really has just been really moody lately. It's been absolutely awful. So NC status means you got nothing coming. Nothing. You go to talk on the telephone, right? You've been waiting online for it for 45 minutes. A guy will just walk in front of you and take the phone, right? You have no status. You have nothing. You can't even complain to anybody because you have nothing coming, right? It's NC status. So when I explained this to AA Ron, somebody in the comments section said, so basically, Danny, who would be the D, is on NC status twice because he was convicted of 2 assaults, one with the use of a gun and one without the use of a gun. Vicious, by the way, vicious, violent assaults. So D equals NC squared is Danny equals nothing coming twice. This is where the cat's going to be spending the rest of his time on Earth. And everybody said, "Oh man, someone's got to make a T-shirt." And I kept saying to every single person that has anything to do with the community, "Hey man, are you guys going to make this shirt? Right? You're not going to make this shirt. You're not going to make it. All right, I'm going to make this shirt." So I made it, and it comes in a ton of cool colors, including pink, and I dig pink. So that's that one works for me. Tell you what, very interesting, people. Back to the questions. I have people that write to me and ask me questions concerning marital status. You know, I can say, in my opinion, you really ought to try to stick it in there and try to save the marriage if at all possible, right? Like I can give that kind of advice. However, you should probably be talking to a marriage counselor. Like, if you're really trying to save your marriage and the two of you are serious about that, then I'm probably not your guy. You follow me? You know what? Andrew M. Hunt would absolutely know and be an authority on this. And yeah, and probably anything that you can do to make it a little easier on yourself too. So sorry. And you know what? It's so perfect that everybody wanted to name my cat Squirrel, because I do this constantly. But it's the bane of live. You know, live's great because everybody can interact with each other. Unfortunately, if your brain's not, I kind of pulled an all-nighter. There was someone that I was worried about last night, really worried about, and it kept me up. So, but it got me on kind of a cool routine. I actually did a full hour of yoga today, and I haven't done that in so long. I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I did. I'm sure it was on the inside. I don't think I've done a full hour since getting out. Oh yeah, maybe I did. I used to do it a lot at the halfway house, but since leaving the halfway house, I definitely haven't done anything, and I did it like I went pretty hard to the paint. And I was kind of blown away. The other thing is because of the problems that I had with health and some of the other problems I had with my stomach. I ran into a rough couple of weeks, but I am down to the weight that I left prison at. So I'm actually pretty happy about that. And I went swimming this morning at about 4:30 a.m. This was a great start to a day. It really was. I felt like this is not normally how I start my day, but today was fun. It really was. I had a very, very good time. Jenny, I'm glad there's nothing coming status in prison to the common scum, and especially the entitled scum. So glad to hear this morning. Side note, I had a cat named Chicken. Really? Well, they everybody named Squirrel Squirrel because of my inability to keep a thought, a congruent thought going for any length of time. Uh, and then, oddly enough, when I went to the shelter to adopt her, her name was already Squirrel, like it was already on the cage written. Actually, didn't know that. We didn't pick the cat that way. I picked the cat and told the woman I wanted the one in cage too, and she's like, "It doesn't work like that. You got to go get the paperwork off the back of it." So I went and handed her the paperwork, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's Squirrel." And I just went, "Holy hell, that is bizarre." But everybody wanted her to be named Squirrel, and by God, she is definitely named Squirrel. Big shout out to our friend in Ireland, the barrister who watches the lifeboat. It is an honor, truthfully, to I'm always blown away when I get people who contact the boat and they do it from other countries. I realize that the internet, like, truthfully shrinks the world, like, really in a massive way, but nevertheless, it just tickles me pink when we start talking to somebody from one of the other countries. It's I'm telling you, this is what they wanted the internet to be in the beginning. This is really what they hoped for. No joke. They thought it was going to bring people together from all different walks of life and show them all that they were all alike. Honest to God, like, if you read it, that's what they wanted. How cool does that sound? Right? How cool does that sound? The nurse who loved me, 89, is in Perth. All right. Good to see you. We have a big Aussie crew here. A big one. We really do. Russ H, taking back your life. Everybody get that? I know I've got a mod that can probably put that up. I cannot. If I touch anything up here, everybody has there are long-standing jokes about keeping my large fingers away from anything electronic. I have accidentally blocked people so many times, it's embarrassing. Everything I do touch screen because I'm not the brightest bulb when it comes to things electronic, right? So I just need, if I have a computer, it just needs to be like a huge phone because then I can use it, right? A little slow on the uptake, but that's exactly what I've got for a setup. So I've just got stuff that I can touch, but unfortunately, sometimes I get a little wild with the touch. It's especially if I'm trying to, like, if I'm sliding down through something quickly, there's an excellent chance I'm going to knock someone. Not sure what to write. Are you talking about in a journal? Because I'll tell you what, this is also one of the things that people write to me about more than anything other. So, like, on marriage advice and things like that, people, like, honestly, you don't want my advice on things like that, right? How many times I've been married and divorced, right? I'm probably not your guy. I feel like I can probably give you some advice on how to stay sober. I feel pretty strongly about that, and I feel like I can give you the same advice for habits. Like, you got habits you want to break. That's fantastic. But, like, in matters of love and things like that are very, very personal, I'm really probably not your guy. And good God, you wouldn't want me to be anyway. So, Wreck This Journal at Walmart is awesome. It really is. That is a great book, and it will get you to start writing. I loved it. Absolutely loved that book. It's killer. It was a gift to me, and boy, did I get a lot of laughs out of it. The anything to get you writing, but I promise you, people, this is not a difficult concept, right? This is all you got to do, right? And this is how I started in the beginning. You think back to your education, right? That's how I did it in the beginning. I thought back to my education, and I thought, I'm going to list every single Susie Q, good for you. I'm going to list every single teacher that I ever had, right? Starting from first grade or kindergarten, all the way up through, the final, my college degree. Anybody that I dealt with along the way. And then I started to fill in details of what I could remember from those people. And what it did was it very vividly took me back into classrooms, and it took me back into, a time when people still were rocking bell bottoms. And I started to remember things that I never knew I had forgotten. And I started to get a much better idea of exactly who and what I was, right? That's not an easy thing to do. I promise you it is not. But it is absolutely worth it, right? And it starts with the journaling process. Gregory from South Africa. Fantastic. Yeah, please reach out to me, Gregory. I'm honored. I really look forward to talking to you about that. Apple will have iPhone 20. Will be the size of a small tablet. You know what? In my hands, I remember like when they first came out with the Note, series, and everyone was like, "Oh, that phone is so big; it just looks so ridiculous." I tend to make like even really big phones kind of look like an iPhone, an iPhone 4. So make them as big as possible. I really want I like it. I like the move to the bigger phone. I really do. Although I do miss the days when we had really itty bitty little phones and all they did was allow people to talk, and it was expensive as hell. So no idiot just called you for the sake of calling you, right? People called you from a cell phone. They needed to talk to you because it was like $1.75 a minute. Habits are interesting for me. If I decide to do something, then I do it 1,000%. Impressive. But sometimes to my own detriment. I'm either sober or I'll drink myself into needing to be taken to hospital. Aha. There is, I have run across a type of drinker who drinks like that. It's a type of alcohol abuse disorder where they will take the top off of a bottle and it does not ever go back on. And I was married to a woman who, and she's absolutely been sober for 20 years, 20 full years. Proud as hell of her. Really, I am. And that's in spite of being married to me. She managed to go and get sober and get her life together. And she's really doing fantastic. She's the mother of my children. And but there was a time where she was a petite girl. You know what I mean? She was not a big woman, but she had no problem whatsoever putting down a fifth. Like that was standard operating procedure for a day. And she would take the top off of a bottle and it would go in the trash like instantly. And she would drink until she was unconscious. And very often to the point where she would, probably need hospitalization. The only reason that wasn't happening was because I usually had enough drugs of all kinds in the house to counteract. Like at one time in particular where she took a lot of pills and drank, and her pulse was nothing. Like it got terrifying. And I remember, and I am not a doctor. I'm not recommending anybody does any of these things, right? Don't do this. But I shot her. I put Coke in the syringe and fired her up with it. And it was actually an amazing thing to watch because she sort of just sat up and looked at me and went, "What are we doing?" And it only lasted about 5 or 6 minutes and she was right back out. I actually had to take her to the hospital on that particular occasion. But there are people who drink that way. There are people who drink 2 beers a day, every single day, but cannot live without it, right? There's a million different kinds. Candy corn, does it? It looks like corn. It does not taste like corn. It always amazes me that there are people on planet Earth that, you know what I mean? We just I take for granted that every single month of September, I'm going to start stocking up on candy corn. I mean, they're really, for those of you who do not like candy corn, and I know that this is a dividing issue. right? A lot of people really give me a lot of crap about how bad they say candy corn is. But if you get candy corn um, and it's fresh, right? The stuff is soft, absolutely blow your mind. And Alan Valentine, who crapped all over candy corn and talked about just how bad the stuff was, ate it nonstop the entire time he was in America. Yeah, true story. Jenny says, "Ooh, yeah, Susie Q, me too. Never married, no kids. It's an easier life for me. People change after a certain amount of time, and I'm glad I'm not legally committed to either." You know what? Um, we're seeing a lot more of this. To be sure, we're seeing a lot more of this. And you know what? If it works for you, that's awesome. Really. I am a firm believer of if it works for you and if it gets you through this thing we call life, right? Dearly beloved, anybody? Anybody? You know something? I got to say something really funny because yesterday morning, um, I was talking about how I had spoken to one of my exes who was not familiar with the lifeboat prior to last evening, and now knows all about it. And so I was explaining the how that process went down with uh, but when the two of us were together, we had I think basically come to the same conclusion that we were going to um, abstain from bringing any kids in. I already have several, but she was not the first wife. Um, that's my issue. I drink till all alcohol in the house is gone, or I can't drink anymore because I have crashed. Um, Bit much alcohol talk in this show. Hope to have a blessed day. All right, Andrew, I understand, my man. Yeah, and you know what, people, ever if anything ever starts triggering you, just bail. Just bail. I'm not a fan of candy corn, but what's your thought on Tootsie Rolls? No, those are addicting. Thinking about Halloween as a kid. The deal with Tootsie Rolls is the exact same thing, right? Honestly, the exact same thing as candy corn. If you get a Tootsie Roll and it has been made, say, in the last couple of months, then life is fantastic, right? But if you get one that's been sitting around for any length of time, um, uh, they're really something else. Hold on. Come on. What's going on with this? Why isn't this working for me? Come on. Come on. There we go. Jeremy Shelton says, instead of saying bless you when somebody sneezes, why don't we just say you are so good looking? Excellent reference. Well played. Excellent reference. Tootsie Rolls kills my teeth. Yeah, see, again, though, this comes down to the fact that every time somebody is crapping on one of these fantastic candies, it's because you people are getting them and they've been sitting on shelves. You really got to get stuff that's fresh. It's night and day. I got to try all this American candy one day. My fiance is in Vegas next week. Maybe he can smuggle some to me. You know what? There are places he can go in Vegas. In fact, there are several candy stores on the strip. One's owned by one of those reality guys. Can't think of his name right now. Oh no, Guac. Yeah, yeah, that's actually funny as heck. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Yeah, I love a Seinfeld reference. I really do. I absolutely love a Seinfeld reference. Uh I think you're probably safe just walking by Ray Ray. Try not to huff it, right? like smoking candy corn. Oh, that's so sad. That really is. That's so sad. The smell of burning chemicals is all over everywhere. It really is. There's no place in America these days that you're not starting to smell that. It's just awful. Peeps are so gross. Tanya, here we go. Now we've upped the ante, right? Because if you think people really are divided on candy corn, try the Peeps debate. Now, if you've never put Peeps in the microwave, then I don't think you're allowed to badmouth them, Tanya. Have you ever microwaved the Peep? Seriously, what are we working with? Have you ever put one of these in the microwave? Because that makes an absolutely huge, huge difference. Do you see this? Here's the ingredients, right? Sugar, corn syrup, confectioner's glaze, shellac, salt, dextrose, gelatin, sesame oil, artificial flavor, honey, yellow number 6, yellow number 5, and red number 3. Everything that you need as a growing boy, right? I believe that it is one of the 4 basic food groups. I'm almost 100% sure on that. Squirrel, make yourself comfortable. She heard me bad mouthing her. And it's really funny? Right now, she's honestly attacking the stuffed squirrel, which is just great. That's funny. He's a good girl. Good girl. She's been a no-show for a long time. You know what I mean? On the lifeboat. It's kind of becoming like the Grateful Dead playing Saint Stephen. You know what I mean? You might have to catch a bunch of concerts if you have any hope of seeing the Cat in the Basket. She used to be in it every single show. The nurse who loves me says yellow number 5, my favorite. Obviously, a discerning palate, because yellow number 5 really is fire. Really is fire. The shellac is the best ingredient, says Susie Q. I can't argue that. I'm not 100% sure that you're right, but I can't argue that. Why did the Peeps turn blue? Because there's no air in that package. But I'm bummed. Beth, well played. If 7th is here, he's going to be really jealous that he didn't say that. There he is. Candy corn was invented in the 1880s by George Renninger. George Renninger, a candy maker at the Wonderly Candy Company in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The original names for candy corn were buttercream, chicken corn, and chicken feed. Well, it's no wonder they changed the name, huh? Hey, do you have any of that buttercream? Or any of that chicken corn? I'm trying to score a little chicken corn. The corn shape was created to represent farmers who made up half of the workforce. Well, I'll be damned. See, you learn something new every single day here. Shellac is the shiny coating. Yes, the question though is, would it taste the same without that shiny coating? Right? Because if all it's doing is making the thing shine, all right, then I can hang with that. But I'm not sure that I buy that. I think that there's probably a bit of flavor to that shellac. What's funny is I have I'm not sure what you call him. He's a grandnephew, I guess. Right? He's my niece's boy, one of the cutest kids on planet Earth. But he's just a boy. I don't even think he might be 14 months, 15 months, something like that. But his mom was holding a candy corn, and he was just kind of doing it like a lollipop, and I thought to myself, you know what? It's probably the shellac he's enjoying, because he didn't actually bite it or get really involved. other than just sort of de-shellacking it. The only thing Peeps is good for, getting a slingshot and using them for ammo. No, no. What you do with them is you put them in the microwave. You understand? Oh, nice. This is in honor of Squirrel Nut Zipper, who yeah has made a an appearance. She heard her name, looked straight at me when I said that. Such a good kitty, good girl. Trying to get her back onto the right schedule because she really rock candy on a stick. See, that's how you squirrel because you see something that just takes you back. Rock candy was always phenomenal, but that's you want to talk like the crack cocaine of candy. I mean, what is rock candy? It's just sugar. It's a big, huge crystal of sugar. That's all it was. And they were just so excellent. And they came on these little wooden sticks. Yeah, as kids, yeah, you get one of those and it would amp you up for like 2 hours. As parents, you really do not want your kids eating those. That, the other one that's always really impressive to me is the pixie stick. Like, here's just a killer concept. We'll sell you a straw full of sugar. Yes, this is genius, right? Just when I think you can't do anything dumber, you go ahead and come up with pixie sticks and totally redeem yourself. The wonderful things that come from America. Do you not take pride in the in some of the absolute ridiculousness that that we do have? Get him, squirrel. Missed my kitty Maui in the basket, but she loved her Bud Light 12-pack box when I was 21. Something about baskets, boxes, and suitcases. Yeah. Cats, it is like kryptonite. If I put a open box on the floor anywhere, I don't care what squirrel is doing. I mean, it's like a tractor beam. She has absolutely no ability to not, like, she cannot stop herself. She's going to jump in the box 100 out of 100 times. I promise you. And it doesn't matter how damn small the box is. Like, you could put a box down there that is half the size of squirrel, and she's still going to do everything she can to jam her head in it. You know what? Those wax bottles, Guacaholic, absolutely had forgotten those. Everybody remember what he's talking about? I know, again, we're the wax bottle was one of the most foul. Honestly, that's a candy that I just don't think you can call it candy, but I do remember them, and yeah, they were terrible. Root beer, they came in like a couple of different flavors. They were just awful. Fall in New England, lots of candy apples. Oh, if I could make the emoji face, right, that looks like it's getting all choked up, that's what I would put up there right now. I spent a great deal of autumn in New England. I spent many, many, many autumns in New England, and yeah, candy apples. I don't think people realize, like, upstate New York. Upstate New York is so rural, you would not believe it. Outside of like 12 miles on the island of Manhattan, but New York is not what anybody thinks it is. It really is tons of trees, and most of them apples. It is the Pop Rocks. Oh, Junior Mints. It's chocolate. It's peppermint. It's delicious. It absolutely is. Well played, sir. Well played. You know what? That is really, really funny, man. I needed that. Yeah, there's yeah, nerds. Nerds are another one. My ultimate mixtape. Hiya from Gold Coast, Australia, everybody. You know what? That is such a cool name. My ultimate mixtape. Love the name, man. Oh, don't do that, squirrel. You're in the basket. What are you doing? What are you doing? Get back. I swear to you, I'm going to use your stunt double and you're going to stop getting paid. Yeah, that girl. Good girl. She was thinking about it. Sometimes you got to just reposition the basket so she's not looking at. Did you say bull cow? So what is this? Tempt the type 2 diabetic Friday? I have to spend the majority of my life convincing myself sugar isn't a real thing. I'm sorry, Tommy. I am sorry. I do not know how this happened. Fun dip? Yeah, you know what? It's getting worse. I'm so sorry. Run, run, Tommy Bird. Jump, right? Jump off this train, dude. I mean, tuck and roll. You got to get off this train, dude. Tuck and roll. This is dangerous. She is now up the ante, dude. This is Pixie Sticks and Fun Dip, right? Where you had to get a solid chunk of sugar in the shape of like a thick tongue depressor that you would then jam into a pouch full of sugar, lick it clean, and continue to do this until it was gone. And then, of course, devour the quarter of a pound of sugar that you were using. The spoon. Oh, is a spoon like implement. What the hell is wrong with us as a country? I mean, for real. I apologize, people. Truthfully, if this is triggering anybody, I do know that Uncle Bull Cow. Holy hell, good to see you, man. Candy corn is okay, but circus marshmallow peanuts are terrible. Yeah, I'll give you that. Those like pink things that they never the texture on them is always like they screwed the batch up. You know what I mean? Like every time I've ever tasted one, the texture is just not quite right. It's not solid enough. You know what I mean? But there's just enough solid to make you think that maybe you got the bad batch. It's pretty disgusting. And a great addition to the nurse who she is here. She is absolutely here. Nurse who loved me, or she was earlier anyway. There you go. See that? Oh, fried dough. See, now we're getting back to healthy. It was fun. The orchard had a frost, so there wasn't a lot of fruit. So they had huge bins of apples imported from Maine with which we could top off our bags. I was able to pick with a long picker, though. I remember going on tons and tons of those growing up. Um, like our schools used to take us all of the time to orchards. That was an every year thing, and of course, you'd go and taste the ciders and all of the other things they make. And because of the part of New England that I grew up in, um, really a big time thing was Vermont maple syrup, the tapping of the trees and making real Vermont maple syrup. Jolly Rancher candy is icky, says Goddess Divine. You know what? Now you're stuck with a Jolly Rancher candy story. But this is a funny one because it also involves my brother Johnny. So for those of you who are fans of Chase the Heat, uh, most of you know that Johnny had a drug problem. He does, he's been very open about it more of late, but he's been honest about it. And yeah, he did everything at one time or another, and a lot of it. And we were waiting once for the dope man, and he had us waiting in this really odd neighborhood in Nevada. It's like basically it's ghetto, except there's one house that's absolutely beautiful and has some land and some horses, and it's so out of place. Everything else that surrounds it just is like straight hood. But we were sitting there, and they take forever to get there. They say we'll be there in 5 minutes, and they 30 minutes later, you're still waiting. And then 30 minutes later, you're still waiting again. And but my brother Johnny said, I'm gonna go out and pet that horse. And I said, all right. And he got over there, and the horse was quite friendly. So Johnny got over there and was petting him, and he goes, "Hey, give me one of those Jolly Ranchers, right? Because they're quite fond of anything sugary." And so my brother gave the horse a Jolly Rancher. The What a horse's teeth did to a Jolly Rancher was absolutely amazing. It just went like destroyed it. So Johnny is undoing like 5 or 6 at a time, right? Given we were laughing so damn hard at watching this horse do the and hearing these candies get pulverized that Johnny actually got in the car. I waited there, and he went and got in the car and got another bag of Jolly Ranchers for no other reason than to watch a horse eat an entire bag at once. Now, do not yell at me. I realize that that's probably stupid, but that's in hindsight, right? We were two guys doing a bunch of heroin on the side of the road, kind of like Cheech and Chong, and we were feeding a horse. I realize it probably was not a great idea, but we did it. Do you know what's funny is every once in a while, you get off in a story, and then you'll just look up and try to like pick a thread and see exactly what's going on. And you look up and get hey, do you want me to send you some in the mail? if someone is saying on the lifeboat, do you want me to send you some in the mail? There's probably somebody freaked out by that. There's probably somebody somewhere watching that and going, oh no, see, I knew what they were doing. P.S. Tommy, my channel is retro playlist by decades. No way. How cool a concept is that? You guys hear that? Well, I'm going to check that out. I'm going to have to see what your 80s stuff looks like, and your soft stuff. A big soft rock from the 70s, man. I really do. I'm not even kidding you. I know that it's one of those like guilty pleasure things that like I don't really want to admit. Truthfully, like it puts your man card a little in jeopardy if if you're a huge fan of like Leo Sayer, you know what I mean? And Leo Sayer was excellent. I'm sorry. Leo Sayer was great. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Fun dip was my thing during our break during cheerleading, 2 hours a night at practice. You know what? Just how different is life for us too, right? You're off at a sporting event just eating entire bags of sugar while you're doing it. Try that today, right? How would we do today? Yeah, I look back at the things that oh wait, so this is amazing because I am finishing a thread that I started 46 minutes ago. I kid you not. I started this thread about 46 minutes ago. So my ex-wife was angry at me. One of the things that she said to me was that the person that told her about this channel said that I was chasing all of the young women on the boat around, being that kind of dude. And I said that we have a ton of young women on the boat, but that most of those young women start right at the age of about 40 something, because that's really where our demographic is. And I said I don't think we have a single person in the 18 to 24 demographic, and we actually have now like 1/4% or something that is made up of that, and we had 4% or something that was made up of the demographic from the 20s to the 30s. So we're branching out a little bit into the younger years, but they're going to hear me talk about Culture Club. You know what I mean? I may go off on a pretty good rant about the Thompson twins. I'll be gone in a couple of days, which is sad because I'd kind of like them to stick around. Mayonnaise flavored Doritos. Mayonnaise flavored Doritos. You're making that up, man. Seriously. They have mayonnaise flavored Doritos. Or you're just taking Doritos and dipping them in mayo. I think I could respect that. I can't see them making a mayo flavored chip. I was I was quite partial to Cool Ranch when they first came out. Cool Ranch Doritos, which gives you an idea of how old I am. You know what? I think a lot of you found me through AA run. I would say that there's a really good chance that more than half of you. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here, people. Sorry, I'm trying to find. That's a great way to lose weight if you can actually gag at the sound of the name of the candy. Those orange peanut things, they're absolutely foul. You know what? It really is. This shows like the people go crazy every time we do a show like this. I get I get more emails from people who say, you know what, you should just do every show like that. The I think it really does. The trip down memory lane is pretty funny. We had apple cider donuts. It was in New Hampshire. Okay, so I was right there. I was just on the other side of the Connecticut River. That is known as the Connecticut River Valley, right? So that area from like New York all the way up to Maine, and that whole little strip of New England and Vermont and New Hampshire. I saw a great T-shirt. It's off color. It's an off color T-shirt, but there's a great T-shirt about Vermont and New Hampshire being locked in a sex act since 1776 or 1779 or whatever it was. Saw that and thought that's pretty funny. Gummy worms, Spanx Calhoun. Um, Oh, Mackinac peaches. They are only ripe for 2 weeks out of the year. It's like having a circus in your mouth. Batting 1,000. I'm going to go out on a limb here because my deductive reasoning has never been brought into question on the lifeboat. I think you all will agree that my deductive reasoning is pretty excellent. And I'm going to say Jeremy Shelton may have watched some Seinfeld in his time. Those little dots on paper, you eat the paper. Like, how did they ever let that out? Those dots don't come off, right? The paper came off with them. That was the grossest concept. And you basically had to make love to this paper. Watching kids eat those is the grossest thing in the world. They can't still be making those, right? There's no way they still exist. Dots. Thank you, Ultimate Mixtape. Thank you. I appreciate you. I really do. It's you know what? One of the things is crazy, right? Really, really crazy. But I was thinking about this over the last. Hello, Zelda. Maple syrup candy. See, Zelda, that's that's like literally a shot straight through my heart. That is maple syrup candy. You got me. The I've told this story on the boat a million times, but my brother and I used to go and collect sap for a guy that made syrup and old school style. He had like milk jugs in the back of a old Ford pickup, really old Ford pickup, like classic looking step side, but he used it as a farm truck, but it was that old style, big round front. Um, and we would have to take the bucket off of the maple tree and carry it down there and dump it into the collection buckets. And there would be 6 of them in the back of his truck, and we would have to fill those up. So it'd be about 300 gallons of sap that had come out, and then they take that sap and boil it. And, when they're boiling it, all of this stuff that comes to the top, and in typical Vermont fashion, and their ability to say to have a great just telling it like it is, right? So that stuff is always referred to as the scum, but the scum is actually what they make that candy out of, and it's fantastic. It really is. But as they take it off of the top, they put it into molds, and those molds end up looking like maple leaves, or the state of New Hampshire or the state of Vermont or whatever. But and I will tell you, since it really is a shot to the heart, when you make that stuff, goodness gracious, when you make that stuff and you boil it off, right? The thinner it is, the more expensive it is, right? So grade A fancy is ridiculously thin, right? As far as viscosity, right? But the thicker stuff, which is considered a lower grade of product, and it takes a lot less refining, right? You don't have to cook it as long. When you pour it over pancakes, like, it comes out really, really slow, and it kind of sticks to things more. And I was always really, really fond of like the D grade. And if when we were working for a guy that was making it, I always used to try to get the lowest grade I could to get that really, really thick stuff. That name is just, you know what? It is definitely it's an attention getter. It is an attention getter. Welcome to the lifeboat. You know what I think I'm gonna call you? I think I'm gonna go with to real alpha males. There you go. Welcome to the boat. Shrimp mayo Doritos from Japan. You know what? If Jeremy Shelton tells me anything about Seinfeld, I'm taking it at face value. Like, I don't even have to check, right? Now, granted, these were low hanging fruit, right? For a fan, but it's obvious the man's a fan. On the shrimp mayo Doritos from Japan thing, I'm struggling to believe that one. I guess maybe I'm not, but that's just such a gross concept. It really is just terrible, isn't it? Do you think? Yeah, I'm not ready. And normally there's a Dorito made that I wouldn't like, but I don't think I could get that. Quiet Girl says, doing well with the Klonopin, just dealing with a migraine and something else. Well, thoughts and prayers with you, hon. And you are appreciated. I promise you, more than you know. Narcoleptic Chihuahua Productions. 45 days, people. That's what I'm talking about. Where is the official lifeboat participation trophy? That Narcoleptic Chihuahua Productions is epic. 45 days. You are halfway into the second month. I don't care what drug you're on, right? I don't care what you quit. Your brain chemistry by now is doing what it is supposed to be doing. For real. At 45 days, you may not be firing on all cylinders, but your brain chemistry is absolutely where it is supposed to be. And you can start to really stretch your legs. 45 days is huge. It's epic. Keep it up, man. Proud of you. Proud of you. And you can tell that was the official trophy, participation trophy. Wages. Would that be my brother Mark? Brother Mark in the house. Tommy, in my 40s, but look 30s. So I relate to everything. Yes, I found you through AA, Ron. I had no idea you were a sober channel, and I love it. I have never found a sober community before. Thank you. You know what, Jenny? That's one of the coolest comments ever. I love that. I really do. You know, I think we're different. I think that a bunch of addicts got together and kind of put together a program that works for people that, you know, it's what did my friend say? Radical empathy, right? Radical empathy. And it's there's a group of people here that don't want to judge anybody, but absolutely want to be there um, for one another, to take care of one another, right? We I don't think there are too many of us here that have not been shunned, right, at some level by society. The addiction thing is, I mean, you talk about a scarlet letter, right? Drug addicts are we're not a high priority in this country, right? The fact that 350 of us overdose every single day, right? And they're arguing over whether or not we should put more money to try to fight fentanyl at the border. That's what's holding up the the budget right now. That's what's holding up the budget right now. Can't agree on it because there was one side that thinks maybe it would be better if we just are not too concerned about that. But I'm pretty damn concerned about it. And I honestly, people, I'm not a political guy. I'm not. I'm a policy guy. I really am. That's my policy. That's the only one I give a crap about. It's the only one I give a crap about because it's killing my friends. You know, it's killing my friends and it's killing people like me and it's killing people like you. And that sucks. It really does. Jenny, I don't know that there's a lot of sober channel communities out there. I know that there are a lot of cats that do what I do in a video format. I don't think the you're funny as heck. That you're funny. You're funny. And it's not how you found the lifeboat. Um, you found the lifeboat like everybody else did. But that's very funny. Thank you. I appreciate that. For those of you who are watching, I didn't put it up there, but she said I typed handsome handsome bald guy addiction channel into the search bar and you popped up. Yeah, not buying that, but it's funny as hell. It really is. You know what, Tommy? Tommy's one of the most refreshing people in recovery that you will ever want to meet, and has been that way since the very first day that he stepped foot on the lifeboat. Tommy Bird's been around a really long time with us, and in fact, no lie, top two top 2 days in the boat's history. Absolutely top 2 days. One of them was the day that Tommy Bird went in to see his PO. That day was, I remember that call. Man, Mark was freaking out. I was freaking out. Fiona was freaking out. I mean, there were so many people on the lifeboat that were pulling so hard for that. And it was one of those, epic things that we talk about where, you know, you got to see him in 4 days and you don't know what's coming. And for 4 days, you're just, you're thinking worst case scenario. And, he'd be there every night and every show. And we'd be saying, oh, it's going to be all right. I promise. Maple shortbread cookie sounds fantastic, but I like maple in anything. You know what? Tommy Bird is yeah, I think Tommy's pretty good at owning his past. I like to believe that Tommy's pretty good at ownership without abusing himself too much, which I think is pretty important because because I love them. I really do. Tommy is one of my guys. For real. If the crap were hitting the fan, he'd be one of the cats I'd want to take through the door with me. And that's I promise you I don't throw out compliments higher than that. Right? It's the top of the food chain for you there, Tommy. I think you probably know that. Never forget making your parents stop at Stuckey's on a road trip for taffy. Oh, if you people don't know what a Stuckey's is, that is absolutely funny. Chocolate covered almonds. Oh my goodness. See, we really are getting right back into it. We can't help ourselves. We can't help ourselves. Juju bees, good and plenty. Excellent. Going rogue. Excellent stuff. Good stuff. Growing up, Fridays as a kid were reserved for Cadbury chocolate caramel bar, glass of milk, and Friday night flicks. Black licorice was ultimate sin. Gross. Black licorice. You know, I weigh in on this because I am not a licorice person, right? At all. I'm not. I do not. Yeah, saltwater taffy is amazing, but I do not like licorice, right? At all, right? And when I say at all, I can't stress how much I mean at all, right? Uh, just really, really, really foul. I am. I am not a fan. And apparently, there's a challenge because I saw my guy do it. I saw LA Beast. That's my hero. LA Beast is YouTube. Right. The rest of us, I think. Yeah, the dot stuck to paper. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Just how bad an idea was that? Yeah, on licorice. Now, I think it's important. Zelda is at 45 days. How did I miss that? How did I miss that? I'm 45 days too and agree that my thinking is clearer. But now I have the vid. Yeah. Yeah. 45 days, the your thinking is absolutely clear. But you're also going to start experiencing reality, right? For a lot of people, there's an initial rush that your brain will actually give you. Like the brain gets shocked enough that you will feel a head change whether you like it or not in the beginning, and you get kind of excited, and there's that period that they call pink cloud or whatever, and for a lot of people by 45 days, reality's setting in. Like, okay, this is sobriety, and I we've always really tried to stress to people that, um, the fallacy of as soon as you quit your drug of choice, life gets great. It just doesn't happen like that. It would be really good if it did, but it doesn't, right? You still have to then make the decisions necessary for life to go good. And it's a matter of learning, relearning everything. I had to learn virtually every single thing over again because I didn't do anything right. Nothing. Zelda, this is for you as well, then. Zelda, this is official because I say so. Because I say it's official, right? It is my job. I am the captain of this vessel. If I say that thing is official, darn it, it's official. Proud of you, Zelda. No lie. I've been starving and found some black licorice in the pantry. Hard pass. Continued hungry. Oh, excellent. Excellent. That sums it up right there. I could not have done that any better, I promise you. That really is good stuff. Boy, is that funny. Trying to stay to the end. I'll tell you what, this is the end. Um, Cindy Lou Hart, you got to say hello to somebody for anyone to know you're here, sunshine, right? You just want to say that some people are here for connection. You got an option right now for connection, Cindy Lou, right? There's nobody here laughing at you. That's not out of boat goes down at all. So honestly, what you're doing is trolling because there is nobody here that picks or laughs at anybody that did any such thing. You're one of those people that likes to stir it a little. That's who you are, Cindy Lou, right? That's who you are. I dig it. It's all good. Do what you do. We won't see you again, So go find connection somewhere else because you weren't looking for it here. People who look for connection here find it. No one shuns anybody here. I promise you. Yeah. And in the one or two times we've had anything that remotely looked anything like that, we removed those people. And it did not happen to you, Cindy Lou. It didn't. So you can good to see you. Yeah, the chat moves fast. Way too fast to see everything. It really does. But if you want to make a connection, you keep putting it up, right? You don't write one thing up, watch it go smoking by, and wait for your chance to say, you know what? I got treated like crap. Those people are a bunch of phonies. It happens everywhere. I'm telling you, people. And I've come to learn from sitting in this seat, right? And you wouldn't believe some of the things that we've done from this seat, things you'll never know. But I have come to believe that you could hand somebody $1 million and say to them, this is it, man. This is your shot. I'm going to hand you $1 million. All you got to do is go, right? Take it and walk away. You'd have those people who go, man, this is like 26 pounds, man. Seriously, this weighs 20. I got to carry this how far? You know what, Ree? I do love SPTV. I really do. It's a great group of people, and I have felt nothing but blessed to be a part of it. I really have. So, and they've really been really opened themselves up. Oh, I took myself off of Xanax and opiates all by myself with no help. It's been 5 years. Well, thank God that you're all right. It's scary, people. Every time this comes up, we say this, and we're always going to. Coming off of Xanax or any other benzodiazepine or alcohol, right? Coming off either of those cold turkey can kill you. It happens every day in this country, right? You can go into seizures, and it happens a lot. So please, if a drug that you're quitting, and congratulations, Real Alpha Males, that's fantastic. It's huge, and obviously you did it in a tough way. My hat's off to you. That is a very hard way to do it. I did it the same way. I did it in a prison cell, and it's a rugged thing to just cold turkey. It really is. But if you have a chance, people, talk to your doctor. Tell them that you're getting ready to quit. Let them do a little bit of a workup. Let them talk to you about medical assisted treatment. There's a lot of different ways that they have to help people get off of substances. I promise you, they're out there. And I will end with this. Cindy Lou, you're not a troll. Reach out to me right now. You want connection? I'll call you. You reach out to me right now. You and I will be on the phone in the next 5 minutes. You're not a troll? Reach out to me. Let's have a phone conversation. I would love to apologize to you and take you on the boat and show you how this place runs. I don't think I'll get that phone call. All right. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. And this here, that is a cat in a basket. Good girl. Good girl. Good. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. God bless. Hey, Jeremy, thanks. Made today fun.